Hey, everybody. So it's probably been a week or so since I've been on. God, I look tired. Whew, rough. So it's probably been a week or so since I've been on. I was just kind of trying to relax and enjoy my last week of maternity leave with the kiddos. I did go back to work yesterday. It was my first day back. And I was like, kind of like, I'm going to miss my kids. I want to be home with the kids. But then I also miss my work family. And I love what I do. So even though it's exhausting sometimes, and there are days that I question, why did I become a nurse? But anyway, I was excited to go back because I missed it, and I do love being a nurse 99% of the time. So get back to work yesterday, and I'm walking through the parking lot, and like walking from where I parked to the security entrance where we go in, I can see the main entrance to the emergency room. And so I'm like halfway to the security entrance, and all of a sudden I just hear this like screaming and cussing, and I'm like, what in the hell is going on? Like, where's that coming from? So I look over, it's from outside the emergency room. Sorry, my baby's eating. And I was like, yep, same stuff, different day, just the way I left it, So I go in and I go through the back of the emergency room and go back to the break room, like I had pumped on the way there. So like, put my milk away, clean my pump, whatever, get my stuff together, go out to the floor to look at my assignment. As soon as I come out of the break room and come around the corner, I hear screaming and cussing. I'm like, I wonder if that's the same person or if we have another one that's unhappy. It's just unfortunately the nature of the ER anymore. I mean, you get either people who are mentally with it, who just don't know how to act in public and don't know how to treat healthcare workers, or probably people in general. Or we have like a lot of mental illness, people that either can't afford their meds or don't have access to the meds that they need, or that won't take their meds, maybe undiagnosed, or they haven't found the right medication to treat them. And it's sad. I see. It's just sad. It's sad. And then, by the end of my shift, I was like, wow, like humanity is screwed, because there are some people that just like literally I don't know how they function because they just, I feel like, I don't even know, like work ethic doesn't exist for so many people anymore. For one, people are very entitled, and they just expect things to be done for them and given to them. And it's just, I can't. It's like, I'm here to save your life. Like, why are you here because you have a runny nose and a sore throat? Like, if the emergency room is for emergencies, your runny nose and cough and sore throat for 3 days is not an emergency. That's something you need to go to your primary care for, or you need to go to urgent care. Because people that come in hemorrhaging or coding or having respiratory distress or heart attacks, deformed bones, those are emergencies. So that's just a soapbox I will probably always be on. I think that's probably our new normal. But I mean, overall, I was glad to be back. I was glad to, get back in my normal routine and get back to my work family and go back to, doing what I love. And it was good. I was very happy to come home and see my babies though, and I have to say, I was super proud of my husband because, like I said, he's a police detective, and he got off at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. His mom's house is probably 15 minutes from his work, if that. He goes over, picks up the boys. He hung out there with her for a little bit, and just kind of hung out. I think they had dinner while they were there. So he gets home with the boys around like 6:30, whatever. I work 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So I get a text message at like 9 o'clock that's like, both the kids are asleep and in bed. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Look at you go. Not that I didn't think he could do it, but he only took 4 weeks off with me this time, which I'm very grateful for, because some dads don't get to take any time off. And I was off for 12 weeks. So, I mean, I had that extra 8 weeks to kind of like get in a routine and, you know, be used to having both of them by myself while he was at work. And he didn't really have that. He never had that time with the two of them all day and I wasn't here, you know. I mean, I might run an errand or something, but not all day, you know. So I'm like, I feel so bad. It's going to be rough for him, like trying to, you know, especially after working all day. And I come home, baby's in the bassinet, swaddled up asleep. I was like, when did he eat last? And he's like, about 8 o'clock. And I'm like, cool. So I can take a shower real quick because it's like 10:30 because I got stuck there a little bit late. And I'm like, and he'll be ready to eat by the time I get out. I get out and he's still asleep. I'm like, do I wake him up and feed him? Do I top him off? Because it's my luck. As soon as I fall asleep, he'll wake up and want to eat. I'm like, no, I'm going to let him sleep. I'm going to see how long he goes. So I literally did not sleep sound all night because this little boy did not wake up to eat until 5 a.m. 5 a.m. I was laying in bed at like 12:30 and I like caught a whiff of something and I was like, he pooped. So I like go over to the bassinet and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, I can't leave him laying in that. So I'm like, oh well, I'll go ahead and feed him while he's up. I got him out of the bassinet, changed his diaper. He woke up, smiled at me and kind of kicked around a little bit. Went right back to sleep. Didn't cry when I changed him. I snuggled him for like 10 minutes, laid him back down. He was right back to sleep. I was like, surely he'll wake up around 2:30 because the last couple nights he had woken up at 2:30. And it's kind of one of those where he's transitioning from eating every 3 hours to like sleeping longer. So it's like he wakes up and he immediately thinks he's supposed to eat. So those 2 nights when he woke up at 2:30, I just kind of like, you know, held him and, you know, gave him a binky. And I'm like, if he's hungry, he'll spit the binky out and he'll cry because he's not getting what he wants. But he would put the binky in and go right back to sleep. So I was like, cool. And then he'd wake up at 5. So he didn't even wake up at 2:30. He woke up at 5 o'clock. And I was like, holy cow, he hasn't eaten since 8 p.m. last night and he slept all night. Hopefully this is a trend. I'm not holding my breath. It was probably a fluke. But I mean, I was literally awake all night because I kept making sure he was breathing. But if he does it again, it would be nice to sleep like that. That'd be great. But anyway, kudos to my husband because he had my two-year-old changed, in bed clothes, lotioned up, asleep. Same thing with the baby. And I was like, you go. All right. All right. And he was like, it was chaos. And he was like, don't expect too much. It probably won't happen again. It was probably a fluke. And I was like, give yourself some credit. You know, like, you did good. So I was really excited about that. One thing I did notice, and I was really worried about it because my daughter, who is 16, I tried to breastfeed her, but I ended up getting walking pneumonia right after I had her. And I was on like steroids and had an albuterol inhaler. So like it dried my milk up before I could even get a good supply. So I didn't get to breastfeed her. And then my second child, my first son, who is 2, he had laryngomalacia, which is also known as like floppy airway syndrome. So he used to like choke and gag because the breast milk was too thin for him. So we had to thicken his fluids. So I was pumping and thickening it and giving it to him with a bottle. But it just, I mean, I'll be honest, it was too overwhelming to pump and then have to turn around and bottle feed him and, you know, have to thicken everything. And then I didn't know how much he wanted, you know, like it was just a whole thing. I wasn't great about pumping every 3 hours because I was so concerned about like feeding him and him not choking and making it thick enough for him, but not too thick. So when I went back to work after 8 weeks, my supply went to shit and I pretty much lost it. So my third, being my last baby, I really, really wanted to breastfeed, which is everybody's choice. Some people pump and bottle feed, some people formula feed, some people breastfeed, some people exclusively breastfeed, mixture of the two, whatever. I think a fed baby is the best baby, whatever. But I really wanted to try to breastfeed this time. And Lincoln has done great, like awesome. When he was born, he wasn't breathing, so they had to give him CPAP, and I mean, he was like limp and purple because he got stuck coming out. And he, God love him, he rallied 8 minutes of CPAP and you never would have even known. And he jumped right on the nipple and he's been there ever since. But he fed great, which I was really grateful for. And so the 12 weeks I was off, like he fed great. I would pump after I fed him for a few minutes just to kind of empty out to help build up my supply. And I had probably 500 ounces, a little over 500, 600 ounces worth of stored milk when I went back to work yesterday. So I was really excited about that. And I have the Mom Cozy 5, which I love. Portable pumps. They're cordless. They're just battery operated that I can wear while I'm at work, because in the ER it's crazy. Half the time you can't go pee, let alone go pump. So I was really good about pumping every 3 hours yesterday. I pumped on the way there, then 3 hours in, the next 3 hours, next 3 hours, and then on the way home. So I was just like amazed by the decrease in my output of milk, because usually I would latch Lincoln and then on one side and then pump the other, and I'd get 5 ounces right away out of the other, like the one he didn't latch on. And then if I pumped on the one he did latch on, I might get another 2 or 1. So when I was pumping at work yesterday, what, baby? Hold on. I was literally getting like maybe 4 ounces from both sides, like combined, not each. And I was just so defeated. I was like, because I think it was just because I wasn't with him, and I probably wasn't drinking as much as I normally do because I was really busy and I was sweating. And so I'm trying not to be too hard on myself and just keep up with the pumping, try to keep building my supply while I'm here. But I'm really worried for when I work 3 days in a row, because I'm afraid it's just gonna like kill my supply. So fingers crossed that my supply hangs in there. I'm gonna do everything I can to help that happen. But being a working mom is hard. Being a stay-at-home mom is hard. So I made it through my first day back. I didn't cry. I pumped every 3 hours. And I came home to sleeping babies. So it's pretty good. All right, I'm gonna go get these kids ready for a nap. Have a good day, guys.